the wise fisherman and the greedy merchant. Once upon a time, in a small coastal village, there lived a wise fisherman named Alex. Alex was not rich, but he was content with his life. Every day, he went out to sea in his small boat, casting his nets and bringing back enough fish to feed his family. He lived with his wife, Rosie, and their 2 children, Jack and Sophia. They had a simple but happy life. In the same village, there was a wealthy merchant named James. James was known for his greed. He owned many ships and traded goods across the seas, but he was never satisfied with what he had. He always wanted more, and he didn't care who he had to hurt to get it. One day, while Alex was out fishing, he caught something unusual in his net. It was a small, golden fish that shimmered in the sunlight. As Alex held the fish in his hands, it spoke to him. "Please, kind fisherman," the fish said, "let me go, and I will grant you a wish." Alex was surprised. He had never seen a talking fish before, but he was a kind man. He thought for a moment, and then said, "I wish for nothing but to provide for my family. If you could make sure I always catch enough fish to feed them, that would be enough for me." The golden fish smiled. "You are a wise and humble man, Alex. Your wish is granted. From this day forward, you will never struggle to catch fish. Your nets will always be full, and your family will always be fed." Alex thanked the fish and gently released it back into the sea. As he sailed back to shore, he felt a sense of peace, knowing that his family would never go hungry. Over the next few weeks, Alex's catches were bigger than ever. Every time he went out to sea, his nets were filled with the finest fish. He shared his bounty with his neighbors and friends, and soon everyone in the village knew about Alex's good fortune. James, the greedy merchant, heard about Alex's success and became jealous. "How can a simple fisherman catch more fish than I can trade?" he thought. "There must be something special about his nets or his boat." One day, James decided to visit Alex. He arrived at the fisherman's small home and greeted him with a fake smile. "Alex, my friend," James said, "I have heard of your incredible catches. I would like to know your secret. Perhaps we can make a deal that benefits us both." Alex, being a kind man, welcomed James into his home. He told him about the golden fish and how it had granted his wish. "I asked for nothing more than to provide for my family," Alex said, "and now I catch enough fish to feed them and share with others." James's eyes gleamed with greed as he listened to Alex's story. "A golden fish that grants wishes, you say? I must catch it for myself," he thought. But he didn't want to let Alex know his true intentions. "Alex," James said, "you are indeed a wise man, but think of what you could do with more wealth. You could build a bigger house, buy a larger boat, and your children could have the best education. Why not ask the fish for more?" Alex shook his head. "I have everything I need, James. My family is happy and healthy, and that is all that matters to me. I don't need more wealth or a bigger house." James was frustrated. He couldn't understand why Alex was satisfied with so little. Determined to get his hands on the golden fish, James decided to take matters into his own hands. The next morning, before the sun had even risen, James set out to sea in one of his grand ships. He sailed to the spot where Alex had caught the golden fish and cast his nets. For hours, James waited, but all he caught were ordinary fish. He grew angrier and more impatient with each passing moment. As the sun began to set, James finally caught something heavy in his net. He pulled it up, and to his delight, there was the golden fish, shining brightly as it struggled in the net. James laughed with glee. "At last, I have you," he exclaimed. "Now, you will grant me my wish." The golden fish looked up at James with sad eyes. "I will grant you one wish, but be careful what you ask for," the fish said. "Greed can lead to destruction." But James didn't care. He was too blinded by his desire for wealth. "I wish to be the richest man in the world," he shouted. The golden fish sighed. "Your wish is granted," it said, and with that, the fish disappeared into the sea. At first, James was overjoyed. He sailed back to the village, thinking of all the riches that would soon be his. But as he approached the shore, he noticed something strange. His grand house, which was once the largest in the village, was now old and crumbling. The ships he owned were gone, and the villagers were whispering and pointing at him as he walked by. Confused, James hurried to the marketplace, where he saw a new merchant selling goods from a large, shiny ship. The merchant's stall was crowded with people buying expensive items, and James realized with horror that the merchant was now the richest man in the village. "What has happened?" James thought. "I wished to be the richest man in the world, but now I have nothing." James ran to his home, hoping that his wealth would still be there. But when he opened the door, he found it empty. The gold and jewels he had once hoarded were gone, and the walls of his house were crumbling. Panicked, James rushed back to the sea and called out to the golden fish. "Please come back," he cried. "I wish to undo my wish. I just want my old life back." But the golden fish did not appear. James waited by the shore for hours, but the fish was gone. Desperate, he tried to fish in the same spot where he had caught the golden fish, but no matter how many times he cast his nets, he caught nothing. Days turned into weeks, and James became poorer and poorer. His once grand house fell apart, and soon he had nothing left. The villagers, who had once feared and respected him, now pitied him. James, who had been the wealthiest man in the village, was now the poorest. Meanwhile, Alex continued to live his simple life. He still caught enough fish to feed his family and share with his neighbors. He and his wife, Rosie, were happy, and their children, Jack and Sophia, grew up to be kind and generous like their parents. One day, as Alex was returning from the sea with a boat full of fish, he saw James sitting by the shore, looking sad and defeated. Alex felt sorry for him and decided to offer help. "James," Alex said kindly, "why are you sitting here alone? You look troubled." James looked up at Alex with tears in his eyes. "I was greedy," he admitted. "I wanted more than I needed, and now I have lost everything. I have nothing left, and I don't know what to do." Alex sat down beside James. "You may have lost your wealth, but you have not lost everything," Alex said. "You still have life, and with hard work and kindness, you can rebuild what you have lost. Greed brings destruction, but humility and generosity bring peace." James listened to Alex's words and realized the truth in them. He had been foolish to let his greed take over his life. With tears of regret, James asked, "But how can I start again? I have nothing." Alex smiled. "I will help you," he said. "You can work with me. I will teach you how to fish, and together we can provide for our families. It will be hard work, but it will be honest work." James was touched by Alex's kindness. He had treated Alex poorly in the past, but here was Alex offering him a second chance. With a grateful heart, James accepted Alex's offer. From that day on, James worked alongside Alex. He learned the ways of the sea and how to fish with skill and patience. As time passed, James found peace in the simple life he now led. He no longer desired riches or power. Instead, he valued the friendships he had made and the satisfaction of honest work. The golden fish was never seen again, but its lesson remained in the hearts of the villagers. They learned that true wealth is not measured in gold or jewels, but in the love and kindness we show to one another. As for Alex, he continued to live a life of contentment. His family thrived, and he became a respected elder in the village, known for his wisdom and generosity. And though James had once been his enemy, Alex's kindness had turned him into a friend. The village prospered, not because of riches, but because its people had learned the value of humility, hard work, and helping others. And so, they lived in peace and harmony for many years, always remembering the tale of the wise fisherman and the greedy merchant. The end.